Hello, my name is Chris Brody, and I'm a life insurance agent. I'm licensed in several states, and I'm going to just go over some life insurance pointers for you. And I made some notes, so you can see my eyes going up and down here looking at my notes. But most of the information will come from my brain to this video, and so that you can have an understanding about life insurance and what it is and what it isn't. But basically, all that life insurance is a company that will take your risk of dying. They're gonna, and since it's contract law, they're gonna ask for a premium, and they'll give you a promise, okay, based off of what your application was like. And so if they determine that your application needs to have more discovery, they're going to ask for more things. So maybe it's a paramedical or an EKG or a doctor exam, or maybe none of the above, maybe just a urinalysis, maybe just spit in a cup. I mean, all sorts of things they could be asking for, or none of the above. Might be just a question, or they'll call you up on the phone and maybe ask you some question to make sure you're a real person. Believe it or not, there have been times. Okay, like I said, I'm pretty close to 30 years doing this, so I've seen a lot of different things that people try to do to get life insurance. And so, I mean, think of it this way. Let's say you paid $100 into a policy that was going to pay out $500,000, right? And you died, right? They're on the hook for 500 grand. I mean, that's a terrible business decision, right? So it has to be something good for everybody, you know. I'm not saying that they wouldn't pay. They would have to pay because they're a life insurance company. And so if you died by accident, they probably have a reinsurance on it. And, they're just going to pull it out of there and send you a check, or send your benefactors a check, or your bank loan a check, or whoever it is. Maybe you're using life insurance to collateralize a loan. There's all sorts of things you can do with life insurance. It's amazing. You can even make it a retirement plan. I kid you not. There's so many things you can do with life insurance that people don't even realize, because they might be sold for term. So, there goes my notes. So they might be sold a term policy, and so you're not going to get the cash value benefit of a term policy. And that being said, a term policy is usually for a very short period of time, whether it's 5 years, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 years. Maybe there's somebody out there with a 50-year plan, I don't know. But as you can see, as you get older, or the time frame is longer, or your age is higher, or in some cases lower, okay, it all depends on what the actuator has calculated the risk based off of large numbers, that what your price is going to be. And so if you go to my website and get a quote, right, the quote is free, and you can see, you put in some numbers, and it will spit out all these different companies of what, wow, really, that was $1 more, that was $10 more, that's $50 more. Why is that? Well, depending on the product and depending on your risk. It's that simple, basically. So a lot of times, here, one of the number one pointer here is a lot of people will go online thinking that nobody's going to call them, and so I would call you. Okay, if you go through my system, you can get a quote for free, and I'll never see it unless you point and click on I want information, like I want an application. You say that, then I will be contacted, and then I'll turn around and get back with you, or one of my team members. But usually I reach out to you, from me to you, It's not. I'm not selling your name. I'm not selling it off to somebody and making $100 off of that lead. Uh, I'm the one that's doing it because I'm doing the marketing. Is that fair? I mean, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna sell it. Then you'll have 5 million people calling you. It's nuts, So, and I can kind of see that why most people just get online, because they don't want somebody coming to their house and feel like they got to do business, and they feel the pressure of somebody coming over to your kitchen table, and maybe it's your brother-in-law or whatever, and you feel obligated to do something, right? Most people go online now and they can just hang up the phone. Hey, look, I do this because I love doing this, okay? And what I usually do is I just have some questions that you fill out, and then I take it to an underwriter or 2 or 3, and I see if they will even if they can feel like they would even want an application. Most companies, maybe I should back up, because I'm not sure if most companies do this. The companies that I work with, how about that? The companies I work with don't take money up front most of the time going through underwriting. That's interesting. And why would you want to pay anything otherwise? So, I mean, I know one company in particular that will take your money up front, and then they'll do the underwriting, and they do a conditional. And so, based off of what you answered on the application, as long as you didn't lie, they would pay if there was something to happen. That's not bad. That's just contract law, right? So, you give me some money, I give you some money back, as long as everything is legit and is accurate, something like that. And so there's usually like a 2-year contestability clause, and that's law. That's in the different examination law testing. And that's where the company could say, hey, you know what, we found out that you lied on the application, so we're just going to pay you back all the premium plus a little bit of interest in 2 years. Or let's say you committed suicide within a 2-year period of time frame. They can deny the claim. Yeah, I kid you not. So I'm not saying to do that stuff, If you feel like that life's not worth living, please get help. Please do. Don't be doing silly things. So a lot of people out there you can talk to. You talk to me if you want to. Okay. I'm here. Let's see here. Yeah, so, and the other reason why is people that go online, they don't want to feel pressured to get something, But here's the thing, agents like me we've taken exams. We do continuing ed every 2 years. We've been fingerprinted. We've had background checks. We do anti-money laundering testing all the time. Gosh, it seems like every 10 months. It seems like all the time that we're always doing it. Continuing every 2 years, we have to pay to get licensed in the different states. Examinations just to get the first time around. So, hey, we don't do, if we're going to spend some time with you, please be considerate of our time. Like I said, just go to my site, chrisbrody.com, and you can just click on there and see prices. And nobody will bother you unless you say you want an application, and then, I'll talk to you. Is that fair enough? Yeah, it's pretty simple. No, you won't have 5 million people calling you, bugging you to death. And then I hate that spam stuff, or it's a telemarketer comes on your screen or whatever. You don't even know. You're just afraid of talking to somebody. I understand that, because I get a lot of that junk phone calls all the time. Let me see here. Okay, I mentioned that. And basically, it frees up your time and money. Imagine if the company calls you and says, you know what, you need to go to the doctor right away because you have cancer. I bet you didn't even know it. And they do these paramedicals and stuff. It doesn't cost you a dime. So it's almost like getting a free exam. You know how insurance is, everybody wants your money. Healthcare plans and stuff, they always want your money. You go to see the doctor or whatever, you're surprised that, I thought that was free. But, go, if you just go out through the underwriting process, get a free exam. So here's a myth that people don't realize is they think, if there's no questions asked, it's low price. It's the highest price. If they don't ask any questions to get life insurance, that's the highest risk. It's going to cost a lot of money. Okay, so I know one now. I just did one recently. 60-year-old person. So you're looking at, $20,000 was like $212 a month. Wow, no questions asked. That's a lot of money. But so let's say we went through underwriting, and they said, you know what, for $50,000, maybe it's $200. What? How'd you do that? Because we went through underwriting. Please go through underwriting. Okay. So like I said, maybe I didn't say, but I'm an independent agent, so I can get practically any type of life insurance you want. Okay, as long as they have contractuals with independents. Now, captive agent. Let's say it's a captive company. Well, of course I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to join their company to just sell their stuff. I'm going to stay independent because then I can shop for you. Captive agent, he can't shop for you. No shopping around. It's called selling away. And they'll get fired for it. So, from their company. So then they become independent. Go, hey, you know what? I should have done this. I should have done this years ago, being independent. So basically, underwriting is the key in any other risk. So go through that. Now let's talk a little bit about a term versus whole life. What is a term policy? A term policy, like I said, it's temporary. It's for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, whatever. And it gets to be more expensive the longer it is, and the older you get. And along the way, let's say if you were in perfect health when you bought it, like a 20-year program, when you bought it and then you want to renew it, it's going to be expensive. It's going to be more expensive, I guarantee you that. Unless they say, oh, you know what? It won't be any more money. Yeah, nobody's going to do that. I haven't seen that yet. Now, it could be convertible to a whole life. Some isn't. Some captive term policies aren't convertible, but they're guaranteed reinsurable, which means that, it's just more money, but we guarantee that we're going to insure you. And so you could have come up with like heart disease, cancer, stroke, TIA, something like that along the way, and they'll take the risk. Okay, so it's what it is, but it's going to be more money. It might be written as standard and not preferred, and then you just crunch the numbers and see if that's something that you want to do. It is what it is. It is what it is. And so when you're looking at life insurance, get with us, somebody like independent, and we'll go over these things with you. There's another thing I wish that I did, and I didn't do it because I didn't know about it, and that's called return of premium. Well, I'm too old right now. I mean, gosh, I can get on Medicare pretty soon. Anyway, man, time flies. Return of premium is basically at a certain age, you can get a term policy that over a 20-year period of time, all these different contracts, remember there's all these different ones. So I'm going to talk about one particular one. So just for 20 years, let's say you've been putting in $100 a month for a program and you don't want any more. So in 20 years, that's $24,000. They just cut you a check for $24,000. Now, wait a minute, no interest. Well, if you didn't do a return of premium, it might have been only $60 a month. So, most people say, well, heck, you could take that $40 a month and, invest the difference and blah, 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 blah. Well, so yeah, maybe you don't want to do it. Maybe you do want to do it. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. I just tell you what it is, and you make a decision what you want to do. It doesn't hurt me one bit. It's what you want. So I hope you get what you want. Now, here's another thing. What's whole life? Whole life is something that you're going to pay for your whole life. You can go to age 120 or age 100 or age 95 or age, whatever. And you'll be paying a premium every month, and it builds cash value. Now, some of these policies have something called paid up additions, PUA. Now, I've got a program, I call it the Wealth Builder, and you can go to my website and you can see it. Actually, you can go to the YouTube channel and you can see it. Talks about the Wealth Builder, and basically you're utilizing the PUA, the paid up additions, and which, by the way, if done correctly, I must say that, if done correctly, which all the time I do, is because I don't want to do it not correctly. But I have to say if done correctly because there are those out there that don't do it correctly. Okay. If done correctly, the money is tax-free growth. It's almost like a giant Roth IRA. And it's really good for companies. So if some people are making, $200,000, $300,000 a year and they can't do a Roth IRA because they make too much money, they might want to consider one of these. Ooh, interesting. Tax-free growth and use the money for whatever. Because what happens is if you borrow the money, that's one thing. So you have a company out there that says, oh, if you got to borrow your money, that's not your money. Well, you got to understand what you're doing. You're borrowing off your death benefit. Oh, that's interesting. And all the money that you put into the PUA is what's growing in interest. Now, that interest could be paying back the loan that you got on your future dollars. That's interesting. I want to see one of those. I'll run it for you. Okay. Some companies that only sell term policies can't show you one of these things. Nor do they understand it either. So, for what it's worth. Okay, if it's your brother-in-law trying to sell your friend down the street that says, hey, you know what, this is something you see. Compare. All right, I'm not out. Look, like I said, I've been doing this 30 years. I'm not out there to swindle anything out of anybody because I don't want to go to prison. All right, and I don't want to lose my opportunity. And if you go to the Wealth Builder site, you'll see why. Okay, I'm the CEO of Chris Brody Incorporated and Brody's Business Builders. So I help businesses build their business. So if you want to get into a business or you have a business, let me help you. Utilize some of these products. Is unbelievable what you can do with it. Mortgage protection. What is mortgage protection? It's basically life insurance, but it has some riders in it. So if you're critically ill or terminally ill, or God forbid die, and you've seen my commercial before, you can have your mortgage paid for or paid on. That's interesting. Paid on or paid on? Paid on or paid off? Well, you could do that with life insurance. Yeah, you could. As long as you have the riders on there. It's all about the riders on the policy. So, some companies only handle mortgage protection. Okay. Most of them are through independent agents like me. And the Wealth Builder, we just talked about that. There's the Business Builder, which I haven't done a video on that yet, but it's similar to the Wealth Builder, but we're working with businesses. Okay. And number one, the last item I wanted to talk about is don't ever forget your will or your trust. Do those things. And the physician directives, okay, because you never know what's going to happen from day to day. I mean, I'm doing this video, it's midnight. Actually, it's 12:30 at night. I'm doing this video, and I'm hoping that I get home. Never know, there's drunks on the highway, and you got to really watch. So, beware. So, this is the Life Insurance Pointers by Chris Brody. And check it out. Just pass it along, give it to your friends, family, whatever. Talk about life insurance and check out some of my other videos on my YouTube channel. And we'll talk to you later. Have a good day.